It all started one evening when I was at the office late and I received a phone call. Hello? It was Tom Coyne on the phone. I've got a great idea. I've got an idea, Jen. And I was like, well, Tom, I can't hear you. We need to do something with one of your pet brands with the Iditarod. Sure, of course, I'll do something with the Iditarod. 2 weeks later, we get a frantic phone call from a client. They were being threatened by retailers to be pulled off shelves.
To make the issue even more challenging, the competition had just come out with a national advertising campaign.
So they said, hey, within a month or two, do you think you can pull something together? Something that's going to create buzz, let people know we're still out there. We said, sure, of course, we're always up for a challenge. I said, wait, is there something that we can do with the Iditarod?
We had a brainstorm with the team. We should do something with putting dogs on sleds and having people actually pull the sleds. And we had to call it the Iditarod. Had to be the Iditarod.
And imagine trying to sell this to a client. But again, it's a brand called Snausages.
We call up the client, he loves it. He says, type it up, send it over to us.
And guess what? We heard crickets for about 2 weeks. Nothing. We're like, all right, I guess they didn't like it.
And the client calls and he says, by the way, you're gonna get an email from the brand manager. They wanna do the Iditarod.
Do you think you guys can do it in 3 weeks? And Jen Denick, of course, she said, of course we can do it, with a big smile on her face.
So I hang up the phone and I call Jen and say, hey, how do you feel about going to Alaska? Because you're going in 3 weeks.
We end up pulling it off in 3 weeks.
Now, looking back, it's a little aggressive and a little crazy that we pulled this off in 3 weeks.
There were many hurdles along the way. The Iditarod tells us you cannot call it the Iditarod.
So we sat around, we thought, and we're like, we thought of the most ridiculous name in the world. Snausages Man Sled Race.
So we said, that's it, we're changing the name, don't worry. It's now the Man Sled Race.
The officials at the Iditarod had told us that we had to look elsewhere for partnerships, but had nicely recommended to us that we maybe look at some of the first families of the Iditarod.
We will help you behind the scenes. You change the name and we'll tell you the name of really the first family of dog sled racing who will help make this happen.
My first introduction to the man sled race was passing Jen in the hallway, and she asked me how I felt about going to Alaska. Wow, I am not a good flyer.
We have to start planning immediately because we have no time to waste.
After getting through the initial shock of the flight and going to Alaska, I allowed myself to get excited, but then the reality set in that we've got 3 weeks and we have a lot to do.
3 weeks pass, we make it happen.
The day before, a huge snowstorm was predicted to come in to our site location. However, the resourcefulness of our team, we had 2 locations.
So we went to the second location and we got there. It looked great. We did notice a sign that said thin ice. Naturally, it made us a bit nervous.
The second location was actually on a frozen lake. The depth of the ice was probably about a foot, so we were A-okay with that.
So we had to quickly change all media materials, call the media to make sure that they were arriving to the right location.
As I got out of the car and it came into full view, it was everything I had dreamed. I saw dogs literally riding on and holding on to the top of sleds.
The event itself was really, really neat to see the dogs actually standing up and mushering the sleds.
It was unbelievable. It was fun. It was turning tradition on its tail.
I'm convinced I saw some of the dogs smiling as the race was happening.
We had our B-roll production team that I knew and trusted, but then I had this AP photographer I didn't know from Adam.
It was then that Jen came over and we'll call it a pep talk. It mostly consisted of her emphasizing, we need the photo.
The AP photographer came in with what was one of the most spectacular Yahoo most shared photo of the day.
And I said to Danielle when I got in, please just tell me that there's media. Please tell me that somebody has picked this up. And she says, oh, there's media. And it was ESPN, it was the Weather Channel, it was USA Today, it was the Associated Press. You name it, they've covered it, they've talked about it.
The media results that we got completely exceeded our expectations. And it even gave me a new nickname, which was really exciting, the PR Maven.
We kept 100% shelf space for the Snausages brand.
And in the few weeks following the event, Snausages owned 91% of the share of voice in the market.
99 times out of 100, I'll ignore PR emails altogether. But when the subject reads Snausages mansled race in Alaska, how can you keep your eyes away? You win, PR Maven, you win.
And for the record, I hired the PR Maven.
Don't start with so.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's okay otherwise.
All right, so one day, so, so,
Oop,
Way to the side.
oop. It was the excitement.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I got really excited. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about
Okay.
the main event.
So I did it.
Talk to me about the location.
All right.
So the Snausages mansled. What? Did I say so? All right, this isn't gonna go well.
Usually you gotta get
Everybody does it. Everybody does it.
So when I first heard,
This is Chinook, and he ended up being a part of the winning team.
And everything is better with a Snausage.